It was a cold winter evening in London when Dr. Watson arrived at 221B Baker Street. The familiar sound of violin music drifted down the stairs as he climbed up to meet his old friend, Sherlock Holmes. Inside, he found the detective standing by the window, his tall figure outlined against the foggy glass. "Ah, Watson." "Just in time," Holmes said, putting down his violin. "A most interesting case has come to my attention." Watson settled into his usual chair by the fireplace. "What sort of case, Holmes?" 3 days ago, a valuable diamond necklace disappeared from Lady Morrison's bedroom at her country estate. The police are baffled." Holmes picked up a letter from his desk. According to Lady Morrison, the necklace was locked in her jewelry box before she went to bed. When she woke up, both the box and necklace were gone. "A simple theft, surely," Watson suggested. Holmes shook his head. "That's what makes this case fascinating, my dear Watson." The bedroom door was locked from the inside. The windows were shut tight, with no signs of forced entry. And most curiously, the lady's small dog, who always barks at strangers, slept peacefully through the night. The next morning, Holmes and Watson took the early train to Morrison Estate. Lady Morrison, a wealthy widow in her 50s, greeted them at the door. Her face showed signs of distress as she led them to her bedroom. "Nothing has been touched since that night," she assured them. "Except for the police inspection, of course." Holmes began his investigation, moving around the room with his magnifying glass. He examined the window locks, the carpet, and every corner of the room. Watson watched as his friend's sharp eyes missed nothing. "Lady Morrison," Holmes said suddenly, "did you have any visitors that day?" "Only my niece, Catherine," she replied. "She comes for tea every Tuesday. And of course, the new maid, Martha, who brought my evening tea." Holmes nodded thoughtfully. "And where did you keep the key to your jewelry box?" "In my dressing table drawer. Only I know about it." Lady Morrison paused. "Well, and Catherine? She's seen me take it out many times." After 2 hours of careful examination, Holmes seemed satisfied. On their way back to London, Watson couldn't contain his curiosity. "Have you solved it, Holmes?" "Almost, Watson. We need one more piece of information." Holmes sent a telegram as soon as they reached London. The next day, Inspector Lestrade from Scotland Yard visited Baker Street with the information Holmes had requested. "You were right, Mr. Holmes. Lady Morrison's niece, Catherine, booked passage on a ship to America. She's leaving tomorrow morning." Holmes smiled. "Then we have no time to waste. Watson, bring your revolver." That evening, they caught Catherine at her home, packing her bags. The necklace was hidden in a false bottom of her trunk. Under questioning, she confessed everything. "It was quite clever," Holmes explained later to Watson. "Catherine had made a wax impression of the key months ago when visiting her aunt. On the night of the theft, she gave her aunt's dog a sleeping powder in a treat, which the maid Martha delivered with the evening tea. Catherine then used her copy of the key to enter the room through the connecting door from the guest room, where she had stayed many times before." "But Holmes, how did you know it was her?" "Several clues pointed to an inside job. The dog's silence was suspicious. The thief knew exactly where to find the key. But what caught my attention were the fresh scratches on the jewelry box lock made by an inexpertly copied key. Only someone close to Lady Morrison would have such easy access to make a copy. When I noticed Catherine's expensive new clothes, despite her modest income, and then learned about her sudden travel plans to America, the case was solved." Watson shook his head in admiration. "Brilliant, Holmes. Simply brilliant." Elementary, my dear Watson, Holmes replied, picking up his violin once again. Now, shall we celebrate with a little Mozart? As the music filled the room, and snow began to fall outside 221B Baker Street, Watson couldn't help but marvel at his friend's remarkable powers of deduction. It was just another successful case in the ever-growing collection of memories they shared, another chapter in the continuing adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The gentle notes of the violin drifted out into the London night, a fitting end to another mystery solved by the world's greatest detective.